All right, let's try it.
Okay, another chance to hear about the goat gland man.
Goat gland man. Let me get it going in the other places.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we had some technical difficulties on this one.
Yeah, but we're good. So let's get back on it. Um, where was I though? 24 to 28. It's gonna be an interesting one to edit. They've been too easy lately, so I had to get one difficult one here and there. So eventually, the medical board was able to do something, and they took him to court, and he's like, no one has ever had any issues with one of my surgeries, blah blah blah, and the AMA brought out documents of 42 death certificates that he had signed himself, that he had done in his office, people that died during surgery. So this isn't even counting the people that maybe died after, or like from complications or anything like that. This dude
Wait,
was basically
is there
one of the best serial
complications?
killers ever.
Yeah, is there complications of putting goat testicles randomly in your body?
I think there might be.
That is horrific. This guy was a butcher. I've never
The
heard of this
crazy
person.
thing is, at the time, there was no law against malpractice as a doctor. So he got away with it completely. So there was no repercussions other than they took his radio license and they took his radio station away. No, his radio station and his medical license.
There are some things about the past where it's always fun to fantasize about, like, oh, if I had a time machine, which time would I go back to in the past? And it's like none of those times. Like, I don't think it's as good as we pretend it is.
I'm only halfway through this story. Because what does Brinkley do when he loses his license and his radio station? He runs for governor of Kansas, because everyone loves this guy because he's had all this money and he's been spreading the love and the wealth with everyone. There's a little league team in his town called the Goats because he sponsored it.
It is insane. And Reply All did an episode on this guy.
Yes, it is. The whole episode's about him. Wait till we get to the end because this episode it's amazing, man. Um, he was an amazing showman because he had the radio station. He had connections with all these artists and stuff, like singing artists and preachers and stuff like that. So he had a private jet, which none of the other politicians had. So he became super popular in the governor race, and he nearly won. The only reason he didn't win was over a technicality, because he was so late entering the race that he was a write-in, and a lot of people misspelled his name, and so they didn't count those votes. If they would have counted all those votes, he would have won by like 50,000 votes.
That is.
Not even done yet. He ran like 3 more times. He never won, but he got very close to winning the governor, which is crazy. So after this, he decides, okay, well, I can't have a radio station in the US anymore, but this radio station thing was doing great for me. So what does he do? He moves to the border, right across Mexico border, and the Mexican government, eager to get even with its northern neighbors for dividing up North America's radio frequencies without giving any to Mexico, they granted Brinkley, I think his first radio station was like 50 watt. So it was like his little town could hear it. Mexico granted Brinkley a 50,000 watt radio license, and construction began on his radio station that he called the Border Blaster. And then he started a whole new radio station from Mexico doing the same thing. Like, basically,
Butchering random Mexican people now instead of Americans.
no, he was basically he was selling airtime to other quack doctors that would sell their stuff, like crystals, and um, there was somebody that was selling like signed pictures of Jesus. Supposedly, it was Jesus
Um,
inside.
wait, wait.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
people were buying this.
I'm trying to figure out how you can work around mentally that Jesus signed. Not only that Jesus signed something, but two, that it was a picture. It was, it was, so it was fairly recent that Jesus did this.
So it says that he began selling airtime to advertisers for $1,700 an hour, which is equivalent to $26,000 an hour today, giving rise to new hucksters shilling products such as crazy water crystals, genuine simulated diamonds, life insurance, and an array of religious paraphernalia, including what was proposed to be an autographed picture of Jesus Christ.
I wish. Okay, first of all, I do want the autograph picture of Jesus. I do want that. Like, is that weird? Because like, and actually, Twigs has a good point. Maybe it was pronounced Jesus,
Jesus.
and so then it was just some random dude that he met in Mexico. He's like, here's a picture of him.
But what's even crazier about this story, because we are wrapping it up. So he became very successful with this. He got to the point where he ran a phone line from his radio station to his home in the U.S. so that he could record from his house. The U.S. said they had to do all this stuff to make that illegal. They made that illegal, so then he just started mailing tapes to his radio station, and they just started doing it. So he just got around it all the time. He just would find ways to get around it. But in 1932, the Mexican government allowed Brinkley to increase his wattage to 150,000 watts. Several months later, Brinkley was allowed to increase to 1 million watts,
Moving on up.
making his radio station by far the most powerful radio station on the planet, that on a clear night could be heard as far away as Canada.
How did this guy do this? I don't
There's
understand.
other parts in the article that talks about like ranchers in Texas could hear his radio stuff on their barbed wire fences. People could hear it on
so
their
it was
phones.
really high. Really
It was
high.
just so strong. And so basically he's a pioneer in radio. And it's for the worst things ever.
We take for granted a lot about the quick access of information. Because when was this that he was doing this whole shenanigans?
This was almost my dad's day. It was 1932 was this whole thing when he became like super popular with the radio station.
So there would be newspapers, there would be radio, but this is very early TV. Like maybe if there was TV, very early. I can't remember the exact timeline on when the first TV was, but information was limited. It wasn't something where, because now I feel like if some guy had a weird radio station, all you have to do is Google him and you can find out if he's a psychopath or not that's put goat testicles in people. Like, I feel like that is, as soon as I heard that, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm out of whatever you're into, man.
And the AMA finally won because they did, of course, this is the way they get him. They finally got him convicted of a bunch of things, including tax fraud and mail fraud. This is like the way they get gangsters, man. You know, it's like can't get them on anything else because nothing else will stick. So they finally got him on those kind of things.
I mean, of course he's committing tax fraud. The dude is like, he is just, I don't understand how he, I mean, I bet, did they make laws because of this dude? Like malpractice laws because of this guy?
No, they did. The law about the radios, this isn't even the thing, but the radio station where having a line from one country to the other and being able to do it from your house, that's called the Brinkley Law because it was only for him, basically. But yes, I'm sure they did other medical laws as well. But I want to read this last excerpt because it's great, and it wraps it up great. Brinkley's life and career is featured in an episode of episode 1 of season 3 of the Travel Channel's series Mysteries at the Museum. In 2016, director Penny Lane made Nuts, a documentary about Brinkley's life that uses animation to illustrate scenes from his life. The Reply All podcast, episode 86, Man of the People, is about Brinkley's life, and a film based on the podcast episode, is in development to be written and directed by Richard Linklater and starring Academy Award nominee Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr. is going to play Brinkley.
I think so.
Oh, and Linklater's really good. Like that's going
The
to be a
fact that
good
they're
movie.
talking, honestly, this is an older episode, so it maybe didn't happen, but it's crazy that they were talking about. This is a crazy story.
No,
I
it's
mean,
an
it's a
insane
crazy story. And the fact that they might make a movie based off of a podcast episode is great.
I feel like I need time to process that amount of shenanigans that you just said.
It was
about this
amazing.
guy.
It was one of the craziest stories, and of course, I didn't do it justice compared to like.
Oh, Reply All's just a great
Yeah.
show, though. Like, they're fantastic storytellers. We normally try to like not talk about them at all over here because we have an entire show devoted to that. But Reply All is really great, and you can learn a lot of random stuff all over the place there. It's really really good. So all right, edit point, last one. I probably won't talk about Darren Olean because I want to give him more like time, and I feel like we're at a pretty good place right now, especially with a song. I mean, we had a little bit of time that was in between,
But the their tube stuff.
yeah, Their Tube's gonna be my last one.
Okay. Well, we can talk about Down to Earth and then wrap it up if you want, because we need to talk about that. Then we can push their tube, and then we'll almost have a full Todd's for next week.
I'm trying to think. Their Tube is like a 1 minute thing. I feel like we could really get into Darren Olean and Down to Earth.
Oh, Darren, I'm sorry. When you said Darren, I forgot that was the guys from that show.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying like we've already had like kind of a long bit here. I wonder if we go to like the short one song and then we save this one for next week.
Yeah. I mean, we're at like maybe 23.
You think
With
23?
everything. Mm-hmm. We went from 13 to 19, 24 to 28, and then we had another edit. So it was like 6 minutes.
6 minutes. I'm seeing 40 minutes recorded right now, though.
Oh, you're right. I did bad math.
And then, like, we had a 5-minute song on there. You see what I mean? So, like, we're right
Yeah.
at the sweet spot, and I do think that we should give more time to Down to Earth and Darren Olean.
Yeah, there was a lot to talk about that on that. I
So I'm
agree.
going to do
Okay,
Their
yeah,
Tube.
do their tube, and then we'll be good.
Their Tube music out.
Aight.
So after we talked about a show called The Rabbit Hole, which was a fantastic show. We have a lot of podcast references here, but this isn't about a podcast. This is literally people have, I guess they created profiles on YouTube. They tried to go into certain paths so that you could generally understand what people would be seeing as their homepage on YouTube based on different worldviews. So you can go on this website and you can see the ones that they have that you can check out is a fruitarian, which I guess they really love fruit. Do you know what the fruitarian is?
Yeah, I think I heard that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not exactly sure. I'll look it up while I'm talking about the other ones. So you can see a fruitarian, which a subset of dietary veganism that consists entirely or primarily of fruits and possibly nuts and seeds, but without animal products. It seems like there's not enough nutrients in that, but I don't know enough about it to really talk trash about it.
Oh, that's where we heard about it. Josh talked about it before. It's the people that only eat stuff that like falls off trees.
Oh, that's really hardcore.
Like, yeah, I think they don't even pick it off.
So
the
they don't
trees.
want to hurt a tree. They don't want to hurt the tree by taking its fruits. I don't know.
Yeah, they want to hurt
But
their
so
feelings.
you can see a fruitarian, you can see a prepper, you can see a liberal, you can see a conservative, you can see a conspiracist, and a climate denier. And you literally just click on one of each of these things and it'll show you, and you can get a kind of a general sense of the types of things that each of these groups would be exposed to on a daily basis on YouTube. So it's just kind of an interesting thing to check out, and we'll have that in the show notes because it's.
So is it almost like a experiment to see?
I think it's basically, and I mean, experiment in a general sense because it's like ongoing, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
put that in the chat so everybody can check it out. But it's basically something that's cool because you can see, first of all, which kind of camp you're falling into, if not completely, because they probably went as hard into these directions as possible to kind of have the algorithm be one thing. But if you start seeing some of these, you can see that that's kind of the algorithm starting to put you kind of in that category. And then if you see all of them, you've you've gone down a path, a hard path. But yeah, the final discovery for the week is I just talked to him today. His name is George Pennington III, and he is an incredible guitarist and a really great guy. He just released a recent episode or a recent album this year that is all him playing classical guitar pieces that he worked on while in isolation and quarantine. But thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you, everybody who's watching the live stream. If you have never checked out the live stream, we would love to have you. We'd love to have you join the conversation with us. We have a great time talking to everybody on here. And we also have a Facebook group we have a great time in there as well. We share discoveries all the time. Kirk is constantly putting out awesome discoveries on a daily basis. We have a bunch of people in there that are sharing great stuff like how to make Kool-Aid pickles.
Mm-hmm.
And those types of things are important to have in your life. And so you can have that in your life too. We have a Twitter at the PDS Official. We have a Twitch channel. We basically, if you look up the Podcast Discovery Show, there's stuff around. And any way that you can support the show, we greatly appreciate it because we love interacting with anybody who listens. So thank you so much for that.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
And with that, this is, and now I'm going to put in the last edit because I messaged him, but he never messaged me back. This is from his new album. I don't know what song it's going to be, so I'm going to have to redub this later.
You're gonna dub it?
Yeah, I'm going to dub it. I don't know which song he wants. So, I mean, I could pick one. I'll dub it, though. I'm good. I'm a professional.
But I edit.
Here, I mean, I can do every single song off it. It's only like 7 tracks. Do you guys want to see that?
Say every single song, and then I'll dub it.
Because then we can pick whichever one that I end up doing.
This is how you podcast, my friends.
Yeah, this is how you do it right here. This is how you life hack it. Okay. Off his new album, Daydream Sequence. This is Bella. Off his new album, Daydream Sequence. This is Glimpses of Spain. Off his new album, Daydream Sequence. This is Cello Suite in F major. BWV 1007 1 Prelude arranged for guitar. Off his new album, Daydream Sequence. This is Again Begin. Off his new album, Daydream Sequence.
You're not doing a good job.
You keep laughing and it's
Don't
messing
look
with
at
me.
Don't look at me.
Off his new album, Daydream Sequence. This is Daydream Sequence. Off his new album, Daydream Sequence. This is Walk in the Woods. Off his new album, Daydream Sequence. This is Sun Bear March live. There it is. That was the whole album. So we got it in the can. And I'll just send Kirk a message on which one of those fantastic takes he gets to use.
Yeah, I get the joy of editing this one. This will be a fun one. Haven't had a fun one in a while. And by fun, I mean one that'll take a long time and it won't be fun.
It's not going to be that long because it was usually chunks where our internet was messing up. And now it's fine.
I mean, luckily I wrote down the chunks, like the beginning and ending of them, so we'll get it.
But yeah, everybody, thanks for checking out the stream. We really appreciate it. And now many of the people in stream, get ready because it's Overwatch time.
Overwatch.
So we are going to switch off for just 1 second. We're going to come back with the stream in all of the gaming channels we want it in. And we're going to be playing some video games. So we hope you join us there as well. But we really appreciate everybody's support. It's really fun to be able to talk to everybody while we're doing this.
Don't end it just yet. I want to put the stream link into the Facebook group so that anybody that wants to
for Twitch
migrate over there, they can click that link. Click that link. It'll take you to the Twitch, and we will be there in like 5 minutes, if that. See you soon.
Bye,
I'm
everybody.
Pickle
Thanks so
Kurt.
much.
I wanted to say that the whole time.